I'm extremely grateful to be hosted here by you folks. I really appreciate it. I fell in love with reading at the Island Free Library. Now, I first came here 50 years ago, exactly. Payne's Killer Donuts and I have 50 years on Block Island. It's a cosmic coincidence, but it's a good one. And in those days, the library was in the building that houses Eli's now on Chapel Street.
That's right.
And it was a lot tinier than this, but my mother dragged me over there every day, and I would never take anything. My siblings, who were younger than I was, did, but I wouldn't. And one day, my mother kind of grabbed one of the librarians in desperation and said, "He won't read, what am I going to do with him?" And the librarian says, "He will when he wants to." And my mother says, "But he needs to." And the librarian says, well, asked a few questions about me and said, "Has he ever tried one of the Walter Farley books, the Black Stallion books?" And my mother said, "I don't think so." The librarian said, "Take a couple of these home and tell them it's about horse racing and it's adventure and stuff like that." So she did, and I started one just to get her off my back. And I think I read 20 Black Stallion books in a month. I was literally reading them in 24-hour cycles, and I was back over, I biked over to the Island Free Library every day to get the next one. And I have been reading like a fiend ever since, so I'm extremely grateful because, obviously if I hadn't fallen in love with reading, I never would have wanted to be a writer. So if you don't like what you hear tonight, it's all the Island Free Library's fault. When I saw Jaws when it first came out, I thought I would love to do a thriller like that on Block Island. And what if the monster were on the island instead of in the water? And that's what came up. And that's why it's a serial killer as opposed to one guy, a guy who murders one person, and then the book is all about who done it and can they catch it. A serial killer pursuit is a thriller, it's not a mystery. You want mystery elements, but it's not a mystery. There's no mystery to Jaws, for instance. It's can they catch this thing, and then can they kill it if they catch it. That's kind of what I was looking for with this. I've been working on versions of this for many, many years, and as technology has caught up and there have been changes to the island, it caused me some problems. For instance, there is a scene later in the book where the chief needs to go to the Fred Benson Town Beach house and use the public phones. Well, there aren't any anymore. Actually, if you look at the beach house from the Corn Neck roadside, from the park, you can see the silhouettes where the two phones used to be. I need the phones, so I went with them. There are the old quarry pit on West Side Road, which is now a pond and cows.
Yeah.
I needed it as a quarry pit, so I kept it as a quarry pit. So I hope Islanders will forgive me for dramatic license.
Were you scared when you wrote something scary? Is it scary to you? Does it thrill you? Give you the shivers? Gives me the shivers.
The other thing is, the answer to your question though is, does this stuff scare me?
Yeah.
Not exactly, because as the author you're in complete control.
Right.
But if it's really working, I do find that I start getting excited. My adrenaline starts pumping. The same is true with if I'm doing a good romantic scene, if I'm having a little bit of funny repartee, if it makes me chuckle, then it's working. And the good thing and the bad thing about that is, the good thing is that you're probably a good barometer of whether or not you've got something that's working. The bad thing is, especially with your adrenaline pumping and you're writing an exciting scene, you tend to start writing too fast. Oh my God, I left out this detail. It makes no sense that here he is at the door. how did he get into the door? Did he pick up keys anywhere?
Right, right.
Wouldn't it help? Or maybe a crowbar to break it open? I mean, somehow he's got it. You get so excited and you want to see what's coming next, even though you're writing it. So I find that that's the biggest problem, is that I tend to start jumping because I do get excited. And when you go back, the other thing is that when you're revising, every book I've written, I've had to revise at least 5 or 6 times. And I'm talking about major, thorough revisions. I'm not talking about all the little cleaning. If I counted all those, you'd probably be talking a dozen, 2 dozen. And nothing stays funny or thrilling or sexy or whatever when you're reading it for the 5th time or the 12th time or and after a while you start thinking, this book is so flat. This is terrible. There's nothing thrilling. There's nothing sexy. There's not, and you have to trust yourself. And you have to remember, I thought it was pretty good the first couple of times. And you have to trust that that's still true, because it gets really bad after a while. You start asking yourself questions. Do I need to rewrite this? And
Now, does your wife edit some of those for you?
she won't read my books.
Because they're scary. Yes. Yeah, I know. It's my question. See, I knew they were scary.
but he loves my stuff. And actually, my son has been a tremendous editor for me.
Oh.
He's at the Tisch Film School at NYU, and he asked me if he could convert this into a script, and I said sure. And after he'd been reading it, making notes and stuff, he said to me, I want to ask you some questions about the screenplay. I said, sure. And he said, do you mind if I make some changes? And I said, it's really very nice of you as the filmmaker to care what I think, but it's your movie, you do whatever the heck you want. He goes, no, seriously, I want to know what you think. I said, okay, fine, I appreciate it. And then he said, what if you did this, and what if you did that, and what if you did this? And he had about 4 or 5 major changes. And as he listed them, I kept thinking, well, no, I can't. Oh, I have to. Yeah. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, he's right. Yeah. No. Well, no, I can't. Oh, yeah, that's really good. And I ended up, just before the book was released, I had to go back one more time and do all these rewrites based on my son's suggestions. Because he, as I say, he made 4 or 5 fairly big suggestions, and he was right about every single one of them. And at first I was chagrined that my 19-year-old knows more than I do. And then I thought, you know what? I still get the benefit of putting this great stuff in the book. So what do I get? So it was great, yeah. So he edits my stuff, but she doesn't.
Yeah.